Greetings fellow gorehounds and welcome back to another Blood Splattered vlog. So you know those new lights I keep talking about at the beginning of these last few vlogs? Well, when I was setting up for this vlog, I accidentally knocked one of those lights over and cracked two of the bulbs. And it's gonna be a while before I can replace them, so I'm just gonna have to live with it. And with all that venting out of the way, let us finally talk about BLUMHOUSE'S Truth or Dare, a movie that is totally worth all this pain in my wallet and to my pride. Alrighty then, so Truth or Dare, quite possibly the stupidest premise of any horror movie I will see this year. Well, I shouldn't say that, the year is young, there is still time for a stupider movie. That being said, there are amazing movies that have been made out of stupider premises, so that doesn't mean right off the bat this movie was gonna suck. I mean, I love Poultrygeist for fuck's sake. That is one of the stupidest premises for a movie ever, and it's an amazing movie. Now granted, part of what makes that movie amazing is that movie doesn't take itself too seriously, whereas unfortunately, Truth or Dare takes itself way too seriously. And I should probably just come right out and say it, Truth or Dare is not a good movie. It's a bad movie. But it's a bad movie that I had a lot of fun making fun of in the theater. Because this movie is perfect riffing material. Just grab a bunch of beers and a bunch of friends and sit down and throw this movie on, let your inner MST3K out, and you will have a fantastic time. And that's what makes this movie weird to talk about, because while it is a really bad movie, I had a blast in the theater watching it. My god, this is a movie trying to make Truth or Dare scary. That's just inherently hilarious. And it's really too bad because this movie could have been entertaining and fun for all the right reasons had they actually made the movie a comedy. But then again, a big reason I had so much fun making fun of this movie is because of how serious it is. Oh my god, this demon's gonna kill us because Truth or Dare. My god, what next? Is there gonna be like a killer spin the bottle movie? Oh no, prepare for the kiss of death coming this October. And I'm afraid just by joking about that, I just put that out there in the ether and we're gonna see that in 2 years. Okay, now that I got that out of my system, let me talk about things I did like about this movie. Number one, despite all the characters being complete irredeemable assholes that you just want to see die really fast, the actors and actresses playing those roles actually do a really good job with those roles. In fact, despite the awful writing and how awful the characters were to each other, many of them still came across as charming to me simply because of the people playing them. Like if this movie had lesser performances, it would be way more insufferable. So the actors do a good job with what they're given, but they're not given a lot, guys. They're given like pure dog shit. But beyond that, the other thing I liked about this movie was the kills. A lot of the characters who die in this movie die in extremely entertaining ways. I mean, it's kind of like Final Destination light, but it's still entertaining. Especially that one death from the trailer where the guy breaks his neck, that one was pretty brutal. That all being said though, the smiley face thing they do to represent the demon possessing them, that looks hilariously awful. Every time one of them got possessed and did that smile, I would just start laughing my ass off. And mind you, I was in a theater full of people that were actually being affected by this movie, so to all of them, I must have looked like a complete psychopath just cackling like a madman in the back. Which yes, I sat in the back because there was no fucking way I was gonna sit in the front for this movie. I saved those front seats for the good movies. For this one, I go to the back. Actually, the person I was with wanted to sit in the back, but that's besides the point. And you know the people making this movie knew how awful that smile was because they tried to lampshade it in the film. At one point, one of the characters called it a bad Snapchat filter, and yes, that's what it looks like, a bad Snapchat filter. And I know you thought by lampshading it, it was gonna make it okay, but it actually just pointed out how awful it was. It's like the movie couldn't stop digging its own grave. Whereas if the movie was a comedy, it wouldn't have mattered. And the very last thing I liked about this movie is also possibly my biggest complaint with the movie, and that is that awful fucking ending. Those of you who've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That last scene, holy crap, was that the stupidest fucking thing ever. But it was so stupid, it had me on the floor just grabbing my stomach in pain because it was so funny. I'm exaggerating, obviously, but you get what I mean. It's just, it is both the worst and the best thing in the movie. But unfortunately, I can't talk more about why until we get to the spoiler section, so you'll have to wait for that. Just holy crap, guys. This movie is a gift that just keeps on giving in its awfulness. I mean, this is a movie based around a game that has a very obvious loophole, and because of this obvious loophole, they had to come up with an arbitrary reason why you can't do that. But by coming up with that reason, they create this gigantic plot hole throughout the whole movie. It's just staring you in the face the whole time, and you're just sitting like, wait a minute, hold on. If that's true, then why didn't this happen here? I mean, come on, I know you're a dead teenager movie, but you can be smarter than that. A fucking child is gonna see that plot hole, I guarantee it. And on top of that, there's a point where the demon just outright cheats, and at that point I was just like, oh, fuck it. Fuck this. Fuck all this. This movie has no idea what it's doing, even though it has an ending that it's set up from the very beginning, and it's the stupidest shit, and now I'm just repeating myself, so we should probably just move on to the spoilers. As is usually the case with really bad movies, I'm going to include an Amazon affiliate link to a superior movie of a similar vein, and if you click that link and buy or rent that movie with that link, then I will get a kickback from it. And with that out of the way, let us talk about the spoilers for Truth or Dare, and oh my god, I can't believe anyone cares about spoilers for this movie. Alrighty then, so this movie opens up with a prologue in which we see this girl pulling into a gas station, but when she goes up to the counter, the person behind the counter gets that smiley face and tells her truth or dare, and as a result of this, she lights someone on fire, and they are fucking killed. And after this prologue, we cut to our main character, who is a college student slash humanitarian slash YouTuber. And this main character has decided that instead of going off on spring break, she's instead signed up for humanitarian work. But then her friend comes in and is like, no, you're going with us on spring break right now. And she's all like, no, I gotta do this humanitarian work. It's what I want to do. I want to be a good person. Yeah. And then her friend is like, well, I didn't want to do this, but I already did it. I de-signed you up and told them you had shingles. And instead of the main character getting mad at her friend for doing this, she just goes along with her to Mexico on spring break, which was just utterly ridiculous to me because that was an insane thing to do as a friend. If I've signed up to do something really important, then you do not have the right to de-sign me up. That isn't your choice, that's my choice, motherfucker. But whatever, we established the main character as a pushover and her best friend as a colossal bitch. A selfish colossal bitch at that. Because it turns out the reason her friend forced her to go on this vacation is so that she can stop her friend from cheating on her boyfriend. Because her best friend has no self-control and needs her around, otherwise she's just gonna cheat. Which just makes me go, this character is not worth the trouble. Why are you doing this? Why are you helping her? And even though I'm going to tone down my harping on that part of the plot right here, let it be known that that's a problem throughout the entire movie. So on top of all that, it turns out the main character has a crush on her best friend's boyfriend, but unlike the best friend, she isn't a bitch about it, and actually handles it with a lot of maturity. She knows he's with her best friend, so they can be together and she'll just move on. And speaking of moving on, she meets this guy at a bar, and this guy invites her and all her friends to this abandoned nunnery in the middle of the forest. So they get there, they play Truth or Dare, and you've all seen this in the trailer, he tells them exactly why he brought them there. And of course, because this main character has been tricked, she has a meltdown and she sees the smiley face on all her friends. So we flash forward a few months where they've all come back from Mexico, and the main character keeps seeing the words Truth or Dare everywhere. It's carved onto her desk, it's keyed into her car, it's on her homework. And she's just convinced that one of the dickish guys, is playing a trick on her. But then the guy she thinks is playing a trick on her goes to a bar, where a girl's face turns into that smiley face and asks him truth or dare. He picks dare, she dares him to show the whole bar his penis. He decides not to do it when one of the girls in the bar makes fun of his tiny dick. And if you saw the trailer, you all saw this scene. He gets possessed by the demon, he trips over the pool ball, and cracks his head on a pool table. In a really brutal death that actually did make me cringe. That was actually pretty effective. So I'll give the movie that. Once again, it had good kills. But Jesus Christ, every time one of these characters has that smiley face, I just die. I just die. Look at me, I'm possessed. Meh. It's so funny. Anyway, so after this, the main character is pretty much convinced the game is real. But her friends all think she's crazy until the Truth or Dare game starts happening to the other characters. And they start to figure out that the game is doing it in the order they played it. Which, okay, but then one of the characters say they're doing it in the order of the picture? Which, why were they in the order of the picture? That makes no sense. Because when they actually played the game, they didn't really do it with any rhyme or reason. Just random people just randomly asking someone Truth or Dare. Which isn't really how I play Truth or Dare. Normally, you play it where the person who has just dared or truthed has to ask the next person. But whatever, I'm not going to nitpick this version of Truth or Dare, who the fuck cares? Except it really does matter because later on it turns out they aren't playing Truth or Dare, they are in fact playing two truths in a dare. Because the character that tricked them to play the game, he and his friends were the ones that accidentally released the demon and that's what they were playing. So you can't have a truth more than twice before a dare has to be done. Super arbitrary, but it creates this really big plot hole. Because of two reasons. Number one, the movie always has, with the main characters, two truths and a dare. But then number 2, they establish that the other characters from the other friend group are all part of the same game, so they are taking turns too. Which means off-screen, those characters are getting either a truth or a dare, so naturally, at some point, the main characters would have run out of a truth before they realized they didn't have one anymore. And the movie is not acknowledging this one bit. And I have no idea why I care so much. This movie is so dumb, just enjoy the dumb ride. Anyway, I'm kind of tired right now, so I'm not going to go plot point by plot point through the rest of the movie. From henceforth, the characters start dying one by one, and some weird choices are made on a creative level throughout this. Like, there's a gay character who has to come out to his homophobic dad, but he does it off-screen. Perhaps the most emotionally interesting and integral part of this character is cut out of the movie. Which means later, when the dad and the son are reconnecting and bonding and it gets torn apart by the game, we have no basis for caring because they cut out the vital scene. Like, why would you do that? That's so dumb. Anyway, that's a complete sidebar. The characters start dying one by one, and this builds up to the main characters having to capture the guy who originally brought them into the game, because it turns out that he can stop the game if he could do this incantation and then cut out his tongue, but he doesn't want to cut out his tongue, so that complicates things, so they have to force him. But then the demon successfully gets the better of them, and at the end, it's just the main character and her bitchy best friend. And if you honestly want to see this movie for yourself, then stop here and see the ending for yourself. So here we go, the main character gets her best friend possessed by the demon by having her not follow the rules. And when the demon appears, she asks it truth or dare. And that's when she finds out that there's no way for her to get out of this game, so she records a video for her really popular YouTube channel inviting the entire world to join the game. Aw, isn't that sweet? She chose her friend over the world. Except her friend throughout this entire movie was a complete and utter bitch to her. What the fuck? God damn it, this ending is so stupid, but at the same time, I kind of admire the balls to go with this ending. It's like you couldn't have come up with a worse ending if you tried. It's like the perfect bad ending. And yeah, it was totally set up from the very beginning of the movie for it to end this way because there's all these little, like, Easter eggs. At one point during Truth or Dare, she is asked whether she would choose the world or her friends. And because she just cares so much, she says the world. So naturally, at the end of the movie, she does the opposite of that. Also, at one point, her best friend says, "What about me versus the world? I thought you said you'd always choose me." So yeah, it was set up, it's set up, and man, this movie's so dumb. But like I said, I kind of admire this ending. It's kind of gloriously bad. The main character, who at this point in the movie, admittedly, was not a bitch, but this makes her worse than every other character in the movie. Well done, movie. You sealed the circle, you completed it, you made it so that all the characters are the worst people they possibly could be. So with that, yeah, Truth or Dare, it is a really bad movie that is super entertaining to watch with friends in the right environment. I don't see this becoming a huge franchise, and if it does, let's hope they change the game next time. Let's do hide and seek next time. Let's do spin the bottle. Let's do this. If we're gonna do this franchise, let's make it the stupidest thing possible so that I can have my entertaining time, despite the fact I'm sitting through one of the worst movies of the year. And with that, I'll say, my fellow Gorehounds, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And as always, peace out, and I'll catch y'all later, hopefully with a better movie than Truth or Dare.